Tell me when you press start.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah. Go on then.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. Delighted to see that so many people have joined us. We've got nearly 300 people registered for the webinar today. My name is James. I am one of the co-founders of the Digital Accountancy Show. And this is a series of webinars we run throughout the year to support accountants that we work with, keep you up to speed on all the latest tech and innovations that are going on in the marketplace. So looking forward to a great session today. What I will say before we get sort of going and introduce our guests here, Daniel and David, is I know a lot of you have heard a lot about AI over the last sort of couple of years, and frustrations we've heard from accountants. They hear about AI, but they don't hear about how it can really impact their practice and how it is impacting accountancy firms' practices at the moment. Today you will hear that, and you will get a lot of really good, interesting information about stuff that you could be doing now that could make a huge difference to your practice. So just want to say that at the outset, this is going to be hopefully an extremely useful 45 minutes to an hour for you. If you want to ask us questions as we go along, please do put them in the Q&A box, which should be at the bottom of your screen. And Aaron, who you can't see, is going to pick up any questions and raise those with my esteemed panel that are here with me today. We're at the offices of Bots for That. So firstly, Daniel, who is the CEO of Bots for That, thank you very much for hosting us today. It's really nice to be out presenting a webinar that's in a different place, which is great, and such a nice setup as well. So Daniel runs Bots for That. So hi, Daniel, first of all. And Daniel's going to talk a bit more about Bots for That in a minute. And then we've also got David here, who is the co-founder of Utopia, which is an accountancy practice. A team of 10, is that right?
Currently 7.
7.
Plus digital.
Plus Mootopia.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, yeah. So, and David's tells us a bit more about his practice in a minute, but he's going to talk about his real life experiences of using bots. So it's going to be very, very interesting, I think, for you all. Just before we get going fully into the webinar, I just want to quickly mention about the Digital Accountancy Show. We're going live with our registrations next week. We had nearly 4,000 people come last year, and we only have a limited number of space that we can allow for accountants who want to come. So please do register as soon as you can. You should get an email from us next week. It will be on social media and things, but it would be great to see you there. If you haven't come before, I think you'll find it a brilliant couple of days. You really will find out about the future of accountancy. Bots for That will be there. So if you've enjoyed the webinar today, please do go along and see Daniel and the team, and they can give you demos and talk you through any concerns you may have, or how you want to sort of might want to develop it in your own practice. So please do go and chat to the guys then. Right then, Daniel, let's get started. We only have an hour, so there's a lot to get through. So can you tell us a bit about Bots for That? What got you into bots in the first place, and some of the work you're doing with accountants at the moment?
Sure. 3 questions then.
Yeah, sorry. That was
Got
a lot,
loaded.
yeah.
I've got to remember them all now. I'm getting old now, so I'll forget the 2 and 3 by the time I've answered 1. So remind me.
I remember them, yeah.
So Bots for That, we've been around now actually doing what we do for 10 years.
Right.
So the technology that we use is that old or that new. So we've been doing this, like I say, with larger companies. Because of my background as an accountant, I eventually thought it's about time I go back to that wonderful sector and that web profession that gave me so much. So we started to look at how can we take that technology, great stuff that we've done, and bring it down to the accounting field and see where we can add value. And that's really what we do. But we build bots effectively. We build bots, AI. It's all sort of the same banner. I hate the terms and the tags, but it is all sort of bots and automation and AI. And we build those with accountants, for accountants, to make things better, make things easier, change how people work, when they work, where they work. That's basically it. I guess that's what we're going to hear a lot more of today.
What type of firms do you work with? Is it quite a broad cross section of firms?
Yeah,
or particular types?
It keeps changing as well. It's always different from what I thought it was going to be. So we started out by partnering up with very small firms, sort of single co-founders, maybe 2 or 3 people maximum, 10, 20 clients. We partnered up with some medium-sized firms, 400 or 500 clients, and we partnered up with a couple of very large firms who are in the sort of top 50, top 30 at the time. And from there, we thought very clearly it's going to go in a certain direction. It'll be sort of the small to maybe micro, medium will be our thing. And then we realized, well, actually, the very large firms want this probably more than anyone, and probably need it too. And so we were everything from the very micro firms, single co-founders, all the way up to top 15 firms now.
So whatever your size of firm, essentially, this is very relevant to you.
Very
And,
much so.
and yeah, brilliant. And what would you say? I know we're going to get more into this, but what would you say makes you sort of different? Yeah, what makes you different?
I think the thing that probably makes us different, and it's probably true of a lot of SaaS software companies, they pretty much take a product lead in things, and they try to figure out what can we build, what's sexy and exciting, and taking the latest things to create something, and then try and find a market that wants it. We very much work with our partners and our firms and our clients, and we understand, well, what's the nature of work in your firm? Where is time spent? Where's the effort? Where's the wastage? And from that, we help and say, well, if we did an automation for this, or a bot for that, or something for this, how much would that change? And so that effectively drives our product roadmap. So we don't come up with products. We go to our clients and they tell us what they want, and that drives everything about our roadmap.
Right.
That's central to it. We don't do anything else other than literally give people what they really need.
Yeah. I like the fact you used to be an accountant. So
I used to be, yeah.
You understand everybody's world, which is nice, you know. So, David, if I could just bring you in now, could you just tell us a bit about your practice, first of all? Actually, I won't ask you 3 questions at once here. So tell us a bit about your practice, and we'll carry on from there.
Favoritism.
Make it easy for me. I like it. So, yeah, we're a small practice based in Milton Keynes. Currently 7 members of staff. We tend to be more of an outsourced finance function. So we're kind of looking at doing the whole picture, from bookkeeping, payroll, kind of everything outsourced to us. We're currently working with about 75 clients and slowly growing.
Very good. And what first got you to think about bots and using bots in your practice? What was the catalyst? And tell us a little bit about that journey.
So I am hugely enthusiastic for any tech or gadgets, anything that is going to make life easier, anything that is going to streamline what we're doing or help internally or our clients.
Yeah.
So when I kind of heard about bots for that, it was like, okay, wow, this is definitely worth looking at, investing in, or instigating. And we took a view of kind of, it's a long-term project. Can we kind of move with it? Where will it go? What will happen? Sorry, coming back to your question, was why did I look at it? It was basically because it looked exciting. It looked different. It's doing things that are going to help our business.
So that perfectly leads into, so tell us what impact it's had on your practice. What's the sort of things the bots have been doing that have made a difference and helped you and your clients?
So the biggest bot, the main bot we use is the reconciliation bot. What it does is it goes through Xero, goes through the transactions, and it matches them off for us, basically. Sounds really simple. Probably what you've got someone sat doing in most practices or most businesses, going through and ticking off the reconciliation. But when we've scaled that out across multiple clients, we've got around 1,600 transactions on a Monday morning. And I think the bot last couple of weeks actually reconciled 50%. So yeah, 50% of the transactions weren't there on the Monday morning once we'd got into work to click through, which, okay, couple of seconds per transaction, but that's a huge amount that you don't need to go into, don't need to look at. And I think the other thing is also the report that it sends out, which shows the whole client base and what we've got outstanding. So as I say, 1,600 transactions. Actually, I think that's gone down to close to 800 now on a Monday morning. And I think that's because every Monday we're looking at these reports, we're seeing what's outstanding, and we're fixing the things that we might not necessarily have been aware of. So per client, I can see that client's got 50 transactions that the bot wasn't able to deal with. So we need to find out what that information is. and then that's being dealt with much quicker
Yeah.
rather than waiting until the end of the VAT return, the end of the month, the end of whatever it is.
Yeah. And how much time do you think that actually is saving you at the moment? Just that bit of work it's doing there. And did you feel confident it was doing a good job from day one? Or how did you sort of like, I guess, sort of check it was doing a good job, really, and then went with it and thought, right, this is the way we're going to do it now and stuff, you know?
So I'd say it was definitely a project. It's not just going to kind of take everything you're doing and fix everything on day one. It's not a plug and play. It was so basically going back to what it does is if there's a bank rule as well, it will do the bank rule for you as well. So it's only really doing the easier transactions that it has the information to deal with. How much time is it saving across the team? I'd probably say sort of 10 to 15 hours, because they're not clicking in, going into different clients, going through all of that, and then asking the questions. They're going directly to the questions and sending that to the clients. What was the other question? Sorry.
I think how did you sort of check it was doing a good job, or feel confident, right, we can go with this now? This is great, you know?
We told him everything would be just fine. Didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the reports that come out at the end of it, and I think it was probably the first couple of weeks, we're messaging a lot, we're constantly emailing, like, how do we do this? What do we do there? And it's working with bots for that as well. So, yeah, at the beginning, I'd get a report back and it'd say it'd spent, I don't know, an hour and reconciled 5 transactions. And it was like, okay, well, this isn't right. This isn't working. What do we do? How do we fix it? And actually, it's some of the stuff we're doing. So we weren't doing bank rules, or we didn't have auto sync going through or auto publish going through. So the documents weren't there to match against. Once we started to kind of change the way we were working and really kind of focus on that, it enabled us to then have that fully automating in the background. And when I say it's like a project, absolutely, I think it goes up and down. So we now need to kind of revisit all our clients again, have a look, put them automations back in place, make sure we're streamlining everything we're doing, because over time, unfortunately, people spend money at different places, and then the rules aren't there, or the rules aren't working to that cost. But the reports that come out, it's every time a bot is run, the report comes out and it's looking at it and understanding what's happening, why it's happening, and things like that. And I now forward that to our team. And as I say, on a Monday morning, I forward it to our whole team, and me and Catherine will look at it as well, and we'll see how many transactions in total, what the percentage that the bot is dealing with as well. So we are trying to target a 75% bot reconciliation. We're certainly not there, but we're a lot closer than when we started.
Yeah.
I'd say there's a big byproduct, which we really didn't anticipate, was everyone thinks their data in their systems are great.
Yeah.
And actually, when we run a bot on it and it clears 5%, and you look at the reasons why, and it's because actually the data is far worse and less structured and not as clean as everyone thought. So one of the best things about running that is we realized, well, actually, this is the size of the problem we've actually got. It's not just clearing transactions. It's the fact that we've got no standardization across all of our clients or any of our clients. So there's a big exercise of actually grappling with that. And then we do piecemeal, sort of, do an extra 20 clients every week and just build up gradually, just chip away at it. And before you know it, you suddenly got clean data, more standardized processes, and you're not touching any of them. And that's really where we're at. And so that's why it's not a plug and play, because there's a learning exercise, there's a journey you go on, realizing more and learning more about your transactions, your systems, and your clients, and you end up with a better product as a result of it. So it's a nice byproduct that we didn't really plan on, but it's there.
And I don't know who would be the best to ask this question to, but how long does it take the bot to do this sort of work that you're talking about here, David?
So I guess, I mean, the deal we're on, I think we have 8 hours bot runtime in total throughout. I think that's a week.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think we're that close to it. So it's dealing with roughly 1,600 transactions across 75 clients, and it's not using 8 hours
So it's
runtime.
very quick.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also runs at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So when we're coming in, there's nothing going on. It's not like, the transactions were moving around whilst we're sat looking at them.
Mm.
It's already done it. I get the report at about 7 o'clock or whenever it finishes, and then I forward that on. So it's running around the clock when we're not in.
And are you using bots for anything else at the moment, or do you have plans to start using bots for other things?
Bots, not at the moment. Definitely trying to look at technology, AI, different things, but that's the only bot that we're properly using.
Yeah. And Daniel, what else can bots potentially do in a practice to help accountants and stuff?
So we've built bots at, I guess, all levels of the work output. So you've got all the day-to-day transactions, and you've got compliance, period end closing, journals, reporting, management packs, board packs. So there's something that at every level of activity and every level of staff, you've got something there as a collaborative bot to help. So I think there's probably 2 or 3 that we should look at with David, because there's ones that will increase the clearance rates by working upstream prior to the recs. So the transactions are the data is in better shape. And then we've got ones that will do other tax, payroll, other in their pensions and other sort of stuff around bookkeeping, and then period end journals as well. So just to make it lighter and lighter touch. So there's more time for the value adding work, the interpretation, supporting clients and stuff like that. It's quite there.
Brilliant. And is there anything else you say has been a benefit to your practice, David, apart from the time saving? And like, does it help the clients? What's your thoughts on that?
So, I mean, it's massively helps. There's one client I can say in particular who he's all about automation. He's really kind of pushing it his end as well, and he's trying to do that. But we had one of the guys that was off, and this was about a year ago. He was off for, I think, a week. The client phoned up like, "Oh my God, my transactions are building up. What's going on? We can't have this going forwards. We need somebody to be on that on a daily basis." That same team member went off in July for, I think it was about 2 weeks in total. The client didn't even notice. So, and that's probably our best client. I think we've got about 95% managed by the bot with that one. It also depends on the client. They are great at it, and there's a lot of cash coding and things like that, which makes things so much easier. But yeah, that's made a real difference for them.
Yeah.
And it then just means that our conversations, the work we're doing, is more checking the P&L, checking the management accounts, producing more advisory work than doing the data entry.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I don't know if this is one for you, Daniel, and David, please chip in as well. But if someone's listening today and thinking, right, I want to give bots a go, I want to see how they can help my practice, this sounds great. What's the process look like? So they get in touch with you. Tell us about what the process looks like from that stage, and how quickly it can be to get them up and running and making a difference.
Yeah, it's actually relatively straightforward. You can be up and running on the same day. Once you get in touch. Usually we do a demo just to show people the system, how it works, what it can do, what it can't do, and just more so I get people's expectations, because expectations are important. We've slapped AI around so much these days that everyone sort of comes in with either very jaded views or completely unrealistic expectations that things just sort of solve themselves. So it's just about making sure that expectations are clear, understanding who their clients are, how many clients, what type of transactions, level setting it, I suppose. And then just basically the goal is to connect it up as quickly as possible and run it on their data so they can actually see, because that's when you realize how good or how bad your data really is.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So we can do that same day. And that's once we've got some clients on there, it's not a sort of a all one go. We'd like to chip away at it. So we like to have a schedule in place, whether it's over 2 weeks or 4 weeks. we like to add more clients and gradually go that way,
Yeah.
as opposed to just sort of dumping a lot in there. Some clients prefer to just hit it all once and learn from it all in one go, but not everyone feels comfortable with that. And so we take the approach of chip away at it and have a plan that we're going to have 100% within 4 weeks.
Oh, that's very
It
quick.
depends on the bot as well.
That's something we did. So we actually, because I'm a lot more on board with it than Catherine was at the time. She was a lot more nervous.
Catherine's your other partner.
Catherine,
yeah,
my business partner, the co-founder, and she's a lot more nervous and was a little bit more reluctant. So what we did is we started putting my clients on first, and we kind of did 10 at a time. Each week we'd look at what's going on. Is it working? Is it making a mess? No. Okay, brilliant. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And then once I'd used all of my clients, we then started kind of putting Catherine's on. And I think it was kind of every couple of weeks we'd put another 10 on. And it was, I mean, the first one we put on was ourselves. Actually, let's try it on ourselves. If that works, if that's working and there's no issues, then we know it's going to kind of be fine with others.
Yeah. And Daniel, in terms of like the pricing, it sounds like you do that by number of hours
We
the
do.
bots works and stuff. So people don't have to necessarily jump in with a big contract straight away or whatever.
No.
They can take their time with it and things.
Yeah, you can just piecemeal chip away at it. So we do it as smallest plans, starting very small with a number of hours per week. And the lowest plan gets you the equivalent of 4 hours of bot running time per week, which is somewhere in the region of 5 to 10 equivalent human hours in terms of the speed. So it gives you the equivalent of, let's say, a bookkeeper's time per week in terms of running, what it can do and what it can't do. But the interesting, we always have this bit of a debate, especially with the larger firms. They want to know, well, how many seconds does it take to actually process per transaction? They want to get it right down to that granular level of detail. And as much as we always end up giving them the information, I always start with, well, actually, once you're not doing it, once a person's not doing it, it almost doesn't matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
Because you've now freed up a valuable person's time.
Yeah.
If you look at what's valuable, you can get more money. You can't get more time. Time is infinite. It is what it is. So any amount of time you get that you're not then a person's doing something is a plus.
Yeah.
So you get the 100% of time freed up from doing that activity. Then it's done 50% or 100% faster. So you've got 150% gain suddenly.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to make sure that people understand with it.
So David, are you going to the gym more now with your 10 hours free time or?
Well, I mean, can you tell?
No comment.
No, it's it has freed up the time to have more meetings and to do more advisory stuff. And that's it.
Yeah. Which I guess also possibly earns you more money as well, doing that sort of work,
Hopefully that's the plan.
Yeah. Brilliant. I think I know we're here to talk about bots, but it might be quite interesting, David. What I hear, is there any other sort of AI tech that you're using at the moment that is making a difference as well? Because we've mentioned a couple of times a few people are in the accountancy world are a little bit sort of AI'd out at the moment and not necessarily seeing it's making an impact. But I know you're someone who does very much embrace technology and has seen the benefits of it. What else would you say that you're working with at the moment that's sort of making a difference?
I'd say we're still trying to understand what's going on with all the other softwares. We're looking at things like Genesis and watching things like that and Jax if Xero do that. But something I've tried recently was actually Claude that I found quite fascinating. I just run a very simple, can you produce a calculator to show me the difference between putting a pension through corporation tax or personal tax, basically. And it produces almost like an app that comes up, you plug the numbers in and it spits it out. It was more of a training exercise for the team, and it was to show them, actually what the benefits were. But it took, I think it was a 50-word line prompt, and it had produced a calculator that did the calculation for us. That was pretty impressive. So yeah,
I'm curious. So do the staff see that as, do they warmly receive it and think that's brilliant, it's going to change our lives, or do they see that as a threat? Are they worried about it?
I think yeah, it's definitely both. Like, absolutely, it's jobs are changing. Entry-level jobs, I don't think are a data entry clerk or, you know, purchase ledger clerk and things like that, I don't think are even that needed anymore, and that's changing. But it was more of a view of the training and actually, oh, okay, that calculator has shown us how it works, what it's doing, and what it's producing. So I think our team are seeing it as a very positive thing. But when I've spoken to like finance departments in bigger companies, they really struggle and they're really nervous.
And so going back to bots for that, all the bots, we've heard, David, you've successfully implemented, it's made a big difference to the practice. Daniel, like, could you give just people a bit of background on just the support you can provide as a team here, a bit about your team? So, because obviously it's, it's a bit of a step into the unknown for a lot of people here who haven't tried it before. So I think that'd be quite important for people just to get a feel for that and, confidence around, the support you can provide and stuff.
Yeah, so I think, and I guess I always said it a little bit at the beginning, but what makes us different is I'm an accountant by trade, and we've got a lot of accountants in the business, as well as we've got a virtual CFO who's also a customer for us. So I guess the thing that we do and we focus on is we have that tech expertise, that depth and breadth of expertise. And we've been doing what we do for, like I say, for over a decade now with very large businesses with, really high regulatory requirements, cyber security. So we've built our expertise and cut our teeth on the really high value and exposure stuff. And that allowed us to have a very clear, very strong program when we went to accounting firm. So the first one, we always get lots of questions. I mean, I'm speaking to you the first time, you can almost write the script for the kind of questions you're going to get. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, but we're a conservative race of professions.
Yes.
So we always take caution. We're always on the cautious edge rather than the laissez-faire approach. So we've built everything around how our system works, how the bots work, how they get supported, how we roll them out, the deployment, how they then run and operate, how we report the audit logs. Everything really has been built around having a safe, secure, answerable system that you can rest assured is doing what it's supposed to do, and you can get the data out of it to explain it and satisfy yourself. So that's a bit about what makes us different, but that's how we approach everyone. So every bot that we build, it's because it's come from a request from a partner. I'm still waiting for yours, but it's because it comes in for a request, right? And it's a case of this is what we want to do in our practice, and they go through the procedures of that, why they want to do it, what the goal is, how the client's involved, even down to what's the ultimate aim. Is this about profitability? Is it about adding client satisfaction? We go down to that level of detail, understanding what it is you're trying to achieve with it. And then design it around that. And then because we've built up a network of partners, we'll then roll that out with them for beta testing.
Right.
And most of the time, even it doesn't matter how small or how large they are, everyone goes, oh yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
Even if you use a different system or you do things a slightly different way, there's always a recognition, which is part of what I love about working with the industry, because there's always a familiarity with it.
Yeah.
So we sort of field test that properly, make sure that it's up and running. But really, you've got to get that product out there. So we get it out there as quick as we can, because we know that we've only learned about 20% by the time we've done that. Once it's out there and it's being used by people find really creative ways to break stuff, which is what we love. The thing we love as well is that people hold us, I guess, accountable to a higher standard than they hold anything else.
Yes.
And that's even if you compare it with zero releases, something. There's never the level of scrutiny on everything else that gets released, but we do get really heavily scrutinized, which I love because it makes us even better.
Yeah.
So keep it coming.
Yeah.
I think is
yeah, very good. And I think you said earlier, like, if someone is interested, they can give you a call and you can set up a demo to show how it works and a bot in action perhaps and things.
And surprisingly, the thing we didn't expect is they're much smaller, some medium to small firms. They're asking for Savile Row experience. They want the bespoke, tailor-made bot for the exact thing that they want. And so we're getting a surprising number of those coming through now, which we do happily, because we've got the standard bot and it'll do everything it needs to do. But everyone wants something just that little bit different. So we build in as much as we can customize at the off-the-shelf bot. But then we're being overwhelmed really with the response and the requests for, I want something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we've been probably 50% of our time now is on that, which is great.
In case I forget as well, you've kindly agreed to do a special onboarding package for people listening today. Do you mind just sharing that with the people listening? And
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen the details.
Well, I think what I understand.
I trust and rely on my marketing team.
Yeah, so I think
But there's a package where we're going to give, I think it's free onboarding
free
package
onboarding. Yeah,
for a number of clients, or first ones to respond for a period of time.
yeah.
I know that the details will come out.
We'll be
afterwards, but
sending
yeah.
everybody an email, hopefully this afternoon,
Yeah.
latest tomorrow morning, with just the details on that. But I think, as you said, there's a limited number of packages. I guess you can't do 300 in a month anyway, can you? You know, so
Well,
if everyone
try
took it
me.
up, so I'd be happy to perhaps give it that good challenge. But so if you are interested, please do reply to that quite quickly and take advantage of that. That'd be great. Aaron, have we had any questions come through from people listening and stuff?
Yes, we've had a couple questions come through.
Great.
Let me just get those up for you. So the first one we have from Alex Skipper. This might be more directed at David. Do you still need to review info before sending questions anyways, as it only clears the most obvious? You would not want to be asking clients if there are still basic answers for the bot can only reconcile, for example, a payment with multiple invoices.
Yeah, absolutely. So we still take it as a human element. So the team still go through them transactions, and they will still look at them and deal with them first. So there is still a higher level of like a human that needs to look at it, but it minimizes it, and there's a lot less for them to look at.
Yeah, and we're working on reducing that. So all that feedback that David and other clients give us, we build it back into the bot. So what can we improve in the bot? What do we need to increase, decrease, change so that it does a better job next time?
Yeah.
So that's something we're always working on. So it's always constantly improving. So David's a pioneer, really, in in that sense. He's gaining the early movers advantage, and he's a pioneer in his field.
I was told recently I'm on the bleeding edge,
Yeah.
not the cutting edge. So
Who told you that? Was that Phil?
no, it was one of
Oh,
my clients.
okay.
That is something I constantly hear with AI, though. The more you use it, the more intuitive and better it gets, you know, and putting that investment and time into the process makes a huge difference.
It does.
Back to you, Aaron.
Yes, so the next one from Richard Sullivan. Is the bank reconciliation and off-the-shelf bot available to be purchased now?
Yes, indeed it is. And it's a learning bot, like I said. So it's got, I hate to use the term AI, but that's what everyone else would call it. It's an AI bot which does learn from its outputs. It learns from the mistakes. It learns from what's good, what's bad, what needs to be changed. That all gets fed back in. And so every new release of the bot we have is a better version than before. So it will constantly improve.
I would just add that, yes, it's off the shelf, but they might need to do a lot of work to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, don't kind of come in thinking, yes, I'll just switch it on. It will deal with 75% of transactions. It's actually you're quite a humbling experience. You know, we thought we were very good at everything we were doing, and it's a lot easier for bookkeeping to click OK than it is to create a bank rule, especially if Xero's already got it preset.
That's actually one of the next things that's going to come.
Okay,
It's
brilliant.
Create bank rule. Yes, click the button, and yeah. So that's why it's important to work with like partners like David, who has invested in their business and change it.
Aaron?
Do you have time for one more, or do you need
Yeah.
to? Interesting one from Stephen. What programming language do most of the bots use?
.NET. For anyone who's really technical, yeah, .NET for the most part.
Should we come back to a couple more questions towards the end?
Yeah, if you've got any more, that'd be great. Please do send any questions as well if you want to ask anyone.
Yeah, maybe the next one from another one from Alex Skipper. How frequently do you run your bots? David,
do you want to take that?
So we kind of have 3 levels of our clients. So we have those that we need to run daily. We have those that we run every couple of days, and then we have those that we run once a week. And that seems to be fine. It's easy to kind of switch between them and things like that. But yeah, it tends to be 4 o'clock in the morning on the set days of the week that we run it. We only run it Monday to Friday as well, because I don't want to be doing work at the weekend, and I don't want the clients to think we are either.
You should
Very
go for
wise.
it.
Yeah.
And we find most clients fit that kind of a mold where they've got the ones have to be daily. The great thing about it is you go in and you schedule your bot. You
Yeah.
can assign here's my daily client groups, put those into that bot weekly, or maybe even 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, boat group, have another group for that one, another group for weekly, another group for bi-weekly. You can create as many groups as you like. Once it's set up, that's it. You let it run.
Very good.
Yeah, but we work with you because that's the thing that takes a bit more time, because what you think is a daily or a weekly is not necessarily always the case. We find we end up changing some of those around, but that's part of our onboarding process.
Brilliant. And just one more, I guess, before we move on. And for those that I guess joined late, could you just reintroduce the people on the panel?
Sure. So I'm James Howell. I run the Digital Accountancy Show, which is held every year in Battersea, London. Next show is on the 1st and 2nd of April. And registrations, sorry, it's getting a bit long actually, this, but registrations are going live next week. Daniel, do you want to introduce your...
Daniel, CEO, co-founder of Bots for That.
David, co-founder of Utopia Solutions, a small accountancy practice.
Great. So Daniel, before we finish, is there anything we haven't covered that would be good to highlight to people that bots can do that could help and impact their practice? And if I could do like my normal trick of asking you multiple questions, and what do you have planning in the process for stuff that the bots could do in the future as well?
Yeah, I think the only thing we probably haven't really talked about, and David and I were chatting outside beforehand while we were munching our crisps, and it's probably addressing the elephant in the room when it comes to bots and AI, because the first thing people typically think, they get a little bit defensive because they think it's about jobs, it's about loss of jobs, it's about loss rather than benefit and gain. It's interesting because 10 years ago, when we started in this game, there was a book that came out called Rise of the Robots and the Threat of Mass Unemployment by Martin Ford. It was I think, FT business bestseller that year. And back then, 10 years ago, he predicted there'd be mass unemployment across all areas, white collar, blue collar, everything. There'd be mass unemployment everywhere. Social unrest, economic unrest. Now, he might have been right on those two, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But it hasn't materialized to the extent that was predicted 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And even 10 years on, we've been doing this. Yes, ultimately, there's always going to be some things that replace jobs, but that's because there's always new jobs that we haven't even invented yet that we need to move to. And we were having a really good conversation about getting ready for that, because doing the bots actually is the easy part. And I've been doing transformation for 20 something years now, and that's always the easy part. Switching stuff around, moving things, putting systems in. Actually, it's the simpler part. It's actually all about people. The hardest thing is change and bringing people through change. And I always find that the best way of looking at it is, and companies always fight me on this one, but it's being completely open, completely honest, and very constructive. So yes, jobs might go. Jobs might be impacted, but what we're going to do is the following, because we're going to expand our business. We're going to either vertically or horizontally move our business. We're going to take on more clients. We want to grow. We might acquire. So there's lots of things where you've got really brilliant people who you love working with. It's the perfect combination. They don't have to feel threatened that they're going to be out of work, because good people are always useful for various things. You don't have to, and certainly keeping them on stuff like this that doesn't really move the dial. It's just stuff that has to be done. Retraining those, upskilling them. David said that that entry level data entry stuff it's going away. It's dying. It's gone. So when you get new people come to you in their training, you can actually put them onto interesting work. You can upskill them and do the stuff that you train for, not stuff that you don't. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. But the advice I always give to anyone who wants to think about doing bots is, first of all, it's got to make a difference in your business. It's always important. It's massively important to have a why. So what's your purpose? Why do you want to do it? You might want to scale. You might want to improve productivity. You might want to improve your product profitability. You might want to delight your clients. You might want to retain your staff. Whatever it is, have a clear why, have a purpose, and you attach that to program effectively what you're going to do with whatever technology to that, because it needs to drive it. It needs to enable your goal.
Yeah.
Some things become a bit of the tail wagging the dog. Let's do it because it's got AI and a tag on it. It's a bit like the old 80s tag and the turbo tag in the 80s. Putting that tag on it's like supposed to make a difference, but it doesn't. It all comes back to you, your purpose. What do you want to achieve? And that's really where we always start with the conversation.
And I think most people listening to this will probably be struggling to find people to work in their practice, never mind find work for them. So anything that helps to relieve the recruitment crisis, which there is a recruitment crisis in accountancy at the moment, is got to be a great thing,
Yeah.
Have we had any more questions come in, Aaron?
Yes, we have indeed.
Oh, great. Fire away.
We're obviously hitting the right note now.
Yeah.
Could we hear more about client onboarding AI bots that accountants are using that are not automation of data, i.e. improving client care / experience?
Oh, that's probably a webinar in itself, but ultimately the bots themselves, so let's call it, think of it like a macro. It's just a series of programmed sequence of events, actions. I'll open this, do that, fill this, grab that. It's exactly the same no matter what process you're doing. The complexity comes in as to how much of it is not logical, sequential, just programmable. It's where it becomes into more judgment. That's when it just becomes, I guess, sexier, if anything.
Yeah.
So those things where it's about clients, that's where you need to have more of the, again, I hate to use the term, but the AI type of stuff where effectively it's really things like natural language processing that you add on to incorporate into the bot so that it can effectively, it's all about mimicry. That's really all but bots and AI. It's about mimicry of human behavior, how we interact with data and systems in front of us. So the great thing is there's been a lot of, I always thought the last decade was a really quiet one, to be honest with you. People talked about, it was some massive change. I always thought it was a bit of a slow one until ChatGPT happened.
Yeah.
Now, it's not that anything about ChatGPT was specifically unique or new, but it did make significant changes in how we can use the technology. So that's been a bit of a revelation for us in that sense, because it makes these things where you want to do the higher level, less mundane tasks, the things that require more judgment, more interaction, it's made those more accessible and affordable. So you can now add that into a bot and you can now release it off the shelf. And the great thing is what we're working on with our partners is there's no data like your data and your voice. So what the bot needs to learn is each of our clients' data. So it learns your voice. How do you want to interact with your clients? And that's different from David's and to someone else's. So what we're doing is building it around their data sets so that it's effectively another voice in their firm.
Brilliant. Anything else, Aaron?
Yeah, one for David, probably. Guessing it changes your workflow slightly, as it assumes you would clear Dext box to publish all bills, then leave it a day to go into zero, as bot will clear the matches overnight.
Yeah, exactly that. So we've even gone kind of beyond that, and we're really trying to push the auto sync, auto publish button. So if everything is, going back, my main focus on everything I ever do is to make the client experience as simple as possible and as easy as possible. So when the client uploads to Dext or HubDoc, we've used both, and when they upload it, it then automatically pulls all the way through, and it's sat there waiting. So even if our clients are uploading at 9-10 o'clock at night, once they're finally looking at their finance stuff, because no one likes to do that admin stuff, do they? It will pull through and it will be sat there 4 o'clock the next morning. So, and that's something that was a big thing that we started putting in. Actually, when we first looked at it, the bot wasn't processing. Why isn't it doing it? Well, because we've not given it the information to do it. So then we started pushing auto publish, and that's then pulled through, which then means it's all sat there ready to go.
Yeah, and without getting too detailed, but that's one option. The other one is the other side of the bot, that if you're not comfortable with syncing and auto pushing, we've got a bot that goes in and checks the other side of the entry to make sure, is that the right one? Yes, then let's push it. But it's horses for courses. Everyone wants to do something a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always in the same systems, but we always slightly differently. So we're trying to build it in a way that it suits everybody. You can customize the steps that it'll do. So if a bot can do 20 steps, but you don't want to do 2 of those because that's not you, untick them. That's the sort of thing that we're doing.
Any more, Aaron?
Yes, one for Daniel. Could bots be used to process invoices?
It already does.
That's an easy one.
Especially like the repeat ones that you have to go in and approve. Yes, things like that. That we've got a few of those types of ones. And although Xero is a brilliant ecosystem for us for building bots, we build them on lots of other systems as well. So if you happen to have a CRM system or a supply chain system or something else that's outside of that needs those two to connect and talk to other better, that's another thing we built bots for as well. So we've got lots of different bots, but we tend to focus on 1 or 2 when we do these webinars because that's things that people want to talk about.
And I guess the last one that we've had come in here is, I'm currently using Dext for invoicing. Can a bot replace that?
Depends. I mean, the short answer is yes, probably, but sometimes replacing is not what you need to do. So we want to find the right way. You know, there's always a wrong way, but there's always a right way, and it's what's right for you. But technically, yes. But feel free to get in touch. We're more than happy to talk about what it is, what's the unique nature, and we'll find you the right solution.
So really, just if anyone's got an issue that they'd like a bot to potentially solve, you'd be very happy to look at
Absolutely.
it. It's not just a certain set of things you can
do.
do.
Seasonal peaks, you know, where you just haven't got enough staff to cover seasonal periods, Christmas coming up, Halloween, there's always something, right? You know, if the budget's coming soon, that's good.
Yeah.
We'll know what that's going to bring for us. So
Yeah.
That's Halloween, isn't
it?
Halloween.
Great.
One final one we've actually had come through. Can a bot be used to produce a limited company set of accounts yet?
Yes, it can. It already does. Yes, that's our reporting bot. Yeah.
Very good.
Brilliant. Get in touch.
That's it for the questions for now.
So just to remind everybody, we're going to email everybody after this. There'll be the contact details for bots for that on that. So you can get in touch with the team via that. Or if not, just look at the bots for that website, what's the website address?
Botsforthat.com.
There we are, that's easy. And they're also, do look out for the free onboarding offer. And if you want to take advantage of that, get in touch quite quickly because there's only a limited number of those available. And again, that will be on the email.
Can I throw in a quick free plug? I know I'm taking the Mickey.
No,
but we've started our what we call our Beanies Local.
All right, yeah.
So we talked to Dan as well about this one, sort of partnership at some point. But Beanies Local is where we get face to face with people. We're holding our first one in this wonderful town of Guildford. We are. So if anyone is within spitting distance of Guildford in Surrey,
yes,
on the 3rd of October, get in touch with us. We're holding a Beanies Local in the Harbour Hotel. So if you want to find out more and get more in depth in the questions than we did today, come and see us.
And obviously, show,
and we will be there.
Bots for that will be right in the center of the hall, with demo stations and big team and stuff. So you come and see them there. And do look out for our registration details, which you should all be getting next week. But if you don't get it, just go to digitalaccountancy.com and you can get it there. I think that's it. We've covered everything, I think, guys. Yeah. So thank you very much. I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much, David. It's just brilliant to hear from an accountant and, you know, who's really using something and the impacts on the practice, the good bits, the bad bits, the advice, you know, so that was brilliant. Thank you. Daniel, obviously, thank you very much for hosting us. Stuff you're doing is superb, you know, and I've heard so much good feedback on it. And if you're interested, well worth having a chat. So please do get in touch with the team. And I think we might have given you an extra free 10 minutes in your day there, possibly. Is it about 10 to now?
See, that's how efficient we come to.
There we are. Yeah.
So time back everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you.